Good morning and welcome to Face the Nation. I'm John Dickerson. We begin with a closer look at yesterday's marches.
This is what democracy looks like.
In the nation's capital, hundreds of thousands turned out for the Women's March on Washington. Organizers estimate that over 4 million more rallied against the Trump administration in some 670 sister marches in cities across the country and around the world. Women marched in American cities including Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, and even Anchorage, Alaska. And people turned out to protest all over the world, from Bulgaria to New Zealand, with the biggest crowds obviously in the major capitals. Counselor to the President, Kellyanne Conway, is outside her new office building, the White House. Good morning, Kellyanne.
Good morning, John.
Donald Trump had a strong reception at his inauguration, and then yesterday there were those marches. He has credited himself with hearing the people, and that's why he was elected. So what is he hearing when he sees those protesters marching?
We heard a lot of what we heard on the campaign trail, John. I mean, I think they missed a tremendous opportunity yesterday to really engage America's women and men on the issues that President Obama's legacy has left behind. Why do we have 16 million women living in poverty? Why do we have millions of women and their children without access to health care, even though we have had the Affordable Care Act for 7 years now? Why are so many people struggling to find well-paying jobs in this economy? And why do they feel unsafe in their own communities? And that's something that this president really wants to help solve. I mean, you had profanity-laced, vulgar comments coming from celebrities. Donald Trump, in his inaugural address, talked about the forgotten man or forgotten woman, and now these forgotten celebrities came to Washington to deliver, really negative messages.
We've been hearing the beeping of a moving van in the background there. Everybody knows this is real. But here's my question, Kellyanne. He's now the president of the whole country,
That's
so
right.
I understand his views about the Obama administration, but he's the guy in the big office now. He's the president. Does he look at those opponents the way FDR did? I wear their scorn as a badge of honor? Or does he do the same way Nixon did when he went down on the mall and met with the Vietnam protesters, talked to those young kids? What does he hear? What does he hear from the people who don't support him?
He hears and sees a country that is divided. Donald Trump didn't divide the country, but as president, he has a great opportunity to help heal and unify it. And John, President Trump took a couple really big steps forward in that regard in his inaugural address. It was uplifting, it was unifying. He did reach across and try to engage people who did not vote for him, who maybe disagree with him politically and otherwise, to really come together. And he actually earlier in the week met with Martin Luther King Jr.'s son, Martin Luther King III, in New York, where they had an incredibly constructive and honest conversation about unifying and healing the country. If you listen to President Trump in his inaugural address, he talked about unifying and being aspirational, uplifting, and then the very next day you have people being very negative about him. But he's reached across. He's going to be a president for all Americans.